Alright, so we want to determine f inverse of x of the equation f of x is equal to negative 3x squared minus 18x plus 11. In this case, it's not factorable, and you can see this if you write down, if you look at your trinomial as ax squared plus bx plus c, a here is negative 3, b here is negative 18, c here is 11, ac here is negative 33. Two numbers that multiply negative 33 that add up to negative 18, you can't really find those. So what you want to do is, let's do partial factoring. Let's do partial factoring. So partial factoring, also known as completing the square. Completing the square. If you want to complete the square, you need a to equal 1, and you want to add 1/2 b squared. So to do that, what I want to do is I'm going to factor out the negative 3 so I can make a equal 1. And I have x squared plus 6x, and leave the positive 11 on the other side. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to complete the square on the inside here. So in this case, we can notice that a here is 1, b here is 6, 1/2 b term here is 3, and 1/2 b squared is 9. Okay, so my rule here is, as long as a is equal to 1, I can add 1/2 b squared. I can add the 1/2 b squared term, which is 9. So in this case, I get negative 3x squared plus 6x plus 9. But I can't just add 9 to an equation. I want to subtract that to offset it. Minus 9 plus 11. These three form a perfect square trinomial. If we have a perfect square trinomial, we can factor it as x plus 1/2 b squared. So that's why I wrote down the 1/2 b term here. So in this case, you can write all of this out here as x plus 3 squared minus 9 plus 11. So that's your f of x function. And then what you want to do is, I'm going to expand this guy out. And you get negative 3 times x plus 3 squared plus 27 plus 11. So if I combine this together, this is negative 3 times x plus 3 squared plus 38. Now this is your function. You still have to find the inverse function, right? So it takes a little bit of time. I'm just going to change colors so you can keep track of this. If I want to find my inverse function, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write this as y is equal to negative 3 x plus 3 squared plus 38. Then what I want to do is I want to isolate for x. So if I'm isolating for x, I'm going to move the 38 to the other side. So you get y minus 38 is equal to negative 3 times x plus 3 squared. And then I'm going to divide by negative 3 to both sides. So this and this cancel out. So you get x plus 3 squared is equal to y minus 38 over negative 3. Now I want to solve for x, so I got to get rid of the square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the square root. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I'm going to do the other side. So this and this kind of cancel out. X plus 3 is equal to the plus minus of the square root of y minus 38 over negative 3, right? And the last step here is I'm going to move this 3 to the other side. So I'm just going to kind of do that out here. So you get x is equal to the square root plus minus of y minus 38 over negative 3 minus 3. And the last step here is swap x as f inverse of x. So f inverse of x is equal to, and swap y as x. So plus minus x minus 38 over negative 3 minus 3. And then this guy here becomes your answer. Okay, so, whoops. Kind of messy there, but